Yeah, definitely a podcast. Have various US and international accounting and tax designations, a master's in tax, and a PhD in business administration with a concentration in finance and accounting. Over the past 2 decades, have helped several SMEs succeed. This podcast will provide strategies and resources to help startups and existing businesses thrive. Let's get started. Hello, everyone. Oh, I thought I had set this camera well. Okay, I think we're good now. Hello, everyone. I'm happy to be here for another beautiful program. Thanks for tuning in. Really appreciate all the feedback, all the people that have watched, and just appreciate everyone. And just saying kudos and kudos as per thanking you for me. And I'm very excited. So you're welcome to the Dr. Inia Desanya show. As I said before, I started out as a podcast, and I said, you know what, I actually combined the podcast with the live show, and I said, you know what, I'm comfortable with going just live only. So now it's no more the Dr. Inia Desanya podcast, is the Dr. Inia Desanya show. All right. So again, on this platform, we always look at ways in which to make sure our SMEs, our small, medium-sized enterprises, thrive. That's the goal, and it's been awesome. So thank you again for having me, spending your evening with me, right, or afternoon, or night, wherever you're listening around the world. All right. Now, I have a very interesting topic today. Usually, as always, I bring about interesting topics. So today, my topic is the importance of using what a professional. Actually, I'm going to zero it in to a CPA. Why is it important for you to use a CPA? Why is it? Why should you do that? And I'm going to look at a couple of, there are a lot of factors. People can list factors, and that's fine. But because of time, I'm going to focus on a couple of them, just a few reasons why you should, think of having a CPA as part of your business. Now, I know that some of you cannot afford a full-time CPA. Because of maybe the size of your business, or you don't have the resources, and that's fine. I spoke about outsourcing, right? Even actually in my firm, I do, so many small businesses say, you know what, I can't afford you to be on staff, but I really need your service. So they have an outsourced fee instead of having me like a 40-hour or full-time staff, right? They don't need someone to be on them like that. They just want someone to be, watching, or, being just part of their business to make sure that they do well. And so just to mention it there, if you haven't listened or watched, I would say watched, watched my program, my episode on outsourcing, I would say go back and look through I don't know which episode right now, but look through the episodes and pick one, right? I know that at the beginning, I actually didn't do it live. I was recording, and just recording it, not live, but I started live in October last year. And so, but the great thing is that even if you don't watch live, you can always go back and look at any of my videos, right? All right. And again, I have to stress here that, your situation, anytime I speak or come on this program, I want to really stress it out there. I might not say it every time, but just note that this covers all the episodes. Your situation might differ. This is just for general information and knowledge base. So your situation might differ, but I just give general suggestions that you can look at and see if it might apply, it may not apply. So this is not tax or any advice at all. It's just educating anybody that is listening to this, to this show. All right. Now, importance of using a professional, specific a CPA. Now, the very first reason is tax planning. Tax planning. Now, there are so many changes in the tax law, so many. From the COVID year, February 2020 to to I believe March, or within a year, I think February, March or so, 2022 to March 2021 or so, there were three huge legislatures that were enacted. There were so many, and in those huge, legislature, there were changes, there were adjustments, and there were extensions, and a lot of people did not get the benefits of those, of those provisions that were set in place by the government. COVID was bad, and so the government really stepped up. Really stepped up and said, you know what, people are going through a lot. Let me give this to small businesses. So many provisions were extended, were changed, or for a temporary period of time. And so many people did not know, because if you don't know, you can't benefit from something that you don't know about, right? You don't really know. So yes. So if you have someone like a CPA who actually say, because as a CPA, we have to keep up to date with changes, right? And the implications. So yes, one of the reasons is that to help you tax planning and make sure that, you're actually, benefiting or really planning, because every situation differs. That's why I said this platform, situation for business A might differ from situation for business B. All right. That is tax planning, very important, right? To look at what works and how do we make it how do we plan so that it will reflect what your future goals are. Now, there are times that tax law or tax regulations and rules, that a lot of times that is gray. Gray means that there's nothing like, oh, if you go this way, you're wrong. If you go that way, you're right. It's just what position you need to take. Now, when we look at what position that you need to take, we look at as someone that is into tax planning, or someone that plans for the client, we actually look at the objective, listen to the objective of that client. All right. Okay, so tax planning. The second reason why you should take up or use a CPA is because of compliance. Compliance means that, there are so many government regulations, government tax regulations for businesses, and government regulations in your state, in your locality, so many out there. And if you do not know them, of course, we know that ignorance is not an excuse. You can't say, oh, I didn't follow this tax, or I didn't follow this government regulation because I just didn't know it existed, right? Sometimes, the government might say, okay, you know what, let me give you some, they might give you some leeway, but sometimes, it doesn't work like that, right? So compliance is so important, because the cost of compliance is more expensive than having a CPA that works with you. Remember, I talked about outsourcing. The cost of non-compliance, I wouldn't say compliance, the cost of not being compliant, non-compliance, which would result into interest, penalties, all kinds of stuff, right? And if you can't pay those interest and penalties, it might even lead to closing of your business. So the cost. In accounting, we talk about cost-benefit analysis. Cost-benefit analysis is like somebody trying to save a penny, but end up, spending more than that, trying to save here, but not really saving sensibly, right? So we don't want the kind that you will lose your business because of compliance issues. All right. The next reason, right? And again, as I said, there's a lot of reasons, but I'm just picking a few. The next reason that I'm picking, or the next reason I want to share, is efficiency. One thing that the CPA does is to look at how efficient your business is, right? For example, if you are into manufacturing, right, and you have an equipment that is producing maybe, let's say, 50,000 products, maybe a week, maybe you're doing so well a week, right? And you're looking at changing that machinery, but the cost of changing that machinery is very high. But that machinery, if you use it, is going to give you 150 products at the end of the week, not 50, 150. right? So what a CPA does is they do some analysis, right? Because efficiency, is it better to use something that is broken down, almost gone because of the cost? Or if you invest a little bit more, you make more money because you have more products to sell. But of course, the CPA will also look at, well, do you really need 150 products? Are you selling up to that? What, that's what I'm saying. There's a lot of analysis that goes into that. And it really, really helps efficiency, helps to be efficient. It actually promotes efficiency, right? Because if that machinery is not efficient, why should you continue to use it? Okay, so as I said, it just depends on what the analysis, what the CPA sees, right? Analysis, a lot of analysis. Again, that's why I said it doesn't. I mean, this doesn't. If a CPA analyzes one company, doesn't mean that it's the same analysis for another company, right? It's facts and circumstances, because some people cannot just scale. They don't, I mean, they are spending so much in running the business, but they don't know that they don't have to spend so much because they don't have to spend, let me rephrase that. They don't have to spend so much if the business was really running very well. Okay, they don't sometimes, like, as I gave an example of that equipment, assuming the cost of maintaining that equipment is so high. But you're not looking at that. You're looking at, the cost of buying that equipment is more expensive. But by the time you add up everything, it's going to be even more expensive to maintain that equipment that has been 10 years old or something like that. All right. So we have our guest already here, but let me just bring her in as I continue in this first segment. Let's see. Let me see. Ms. Williams, can you hear me? I think we fixed the... Hello?
Hello.
Yes, I can hear you. All right. Yeah, great. So yes. Thank you for coming, and I'm going to introduce her very soon, but let me just round up this first segment. Okay, the next reason why you should hire a CPA is protection. Why do I say protection? Usually what happens is that before you want to go get into transactions, it's so important for you to say, okay, the CPA should, maybe if you want to get into buying a business, you can push it, you can put, first of all, you send the financials to the CPA. The CPA would analyze and say, okay, no, I looked at the ratios. This is not something you get into. So you're not even getting into something that is not worth it. Okay. All right. So, and then finally, as remember, I said there's so many reasons, but I'm just looking at about 5 of them, which is the last one is growth. You want to grow, right? Now, if you want to grow, there's certain indicator, like I said it a little bit when I talked about efficiency, but you want to grow, you want to make sure that your business is doing very well, right? Well, before you grow. And so that's what usually professionals walk you through and help you, to make sure that happens. And that's where CPA comes in, right? What do we need to do? How do we grow? Is your demand getting higher, or is it, how do we analyze to make sure that, that you're growing in a very efficient way? So I just wanted to state it there. And again, as I said, if you cannot afford a CPA on staff, right, make sure you outsource, right? Outsource any CPA, just outsource, all right? Because one thing that, I'm not saying that it's not good to have a bookkeeper, that's awesome. But one thing that a CPA does, it actually looks at that makes sense of the numbers, right? Which is all, because it's not like just posting things, but why is this like this? Why am I analyzing and saying that there's a hike in expenses? Could it be that there's fraud? Things like that. All right. So hopefully you would understand why it's good to hire or have a CPA on around working with your company, because remember, the goal of this platform is to look for ways to ensure that your business thrives, your small and medium-sized enterprise or business thrives. We know that a large companies, large organizations, large conglomerates, multinationals, they already have someone in-house and doing what I'm saying here, analyzing those things, making sure that they are compliant in every form, in every way. All right, awesome. Okay, so today we have Miss Williams. Can we see your, I mean, your camera is off, actually. I don't think she knows that.
Okay. Let's see.
Yes, I don't think she knows that. Yes.
That's off. Okay. Yes.
Awesome. Awesome.
Yeah.
Yes. So it's great having you. I know that, she started a business not too long ago, and she said, okay, yeah, that I want to be here to share any issues that she might have within her startup business. Because again, anyone that comes on this platform, we're very grateful because she doesn't have to be here, but with sharing her issues, hopefully it will help somebody else listening. So thank you so much for being here. So yes, I just wanted to know, I know you're a startup. Is there any business, any challenge that you're facing right now? I mean, I believe you're in the financial field. So any challenge you're facing, is there any challenge that you're currently facing in your field?
Well, my biggest challenge as a licensed life insurance agent was the very goal that I set for myself, and that was to be licensed in all 50 states, which would allow me to remove any barriers of helping all families in the U.S. That was my challenge in my business.
Oh, wow. I want to first of all commend you because that's a real high standard to meet. A lot of people, I know some people that are into life insurance, they do not have license in all the states. I've not heard someone that wants to license in all the states, but that's kudos. And I think that's awesome to want that, because I want to add something here because she's a startup, and sometimes, usually when people are startup, it comes as a side business. Her goal is to move it from side business to make it a full business. So I think as a startup, she's actually going above and beyond, because if you actually have licenses in all the states, your revenue will be more than just having it in one state. You can talk to people and everywhere. So I think if you're a challenge like that, first of all, I would say that you would have to, first of all, look at the requirements in the different states, right? First of all, look at the requirements in the different states. And then also, I would say that so that it won't be overwhelming, I would say set milestones for yourself. What do I mean by milestones? You say, okay, no, because if you say, you want to get the 50 states in 1 week or 2 weeks, that's hard. But you might set a milestone for yourself. And I tell that when people are looking at their business, milestones help. I still set milestones for myself. By the end of this week, I want to achieve this. By the end of this week. So I would say that, and set milestones to say, okay, how many states do I want to license in every month? How many states do I need to license have my license by maybe this is the month of March, but by the end of April, how many states? You divide them into the number of states by the month, right? That will actually help you. I know some states are similar, but you still have to license in those states. I know people that are just licensed in 2 or 3 states, but that's awesome. So the most important thing is, first of all, milestones, so you will not be so overwhelmed. Very good thing you're planning to do, but milestones, because also this, and I'm sure licensing costs money, right? I'm sure you're not walking in and doing it for free. So another thing, have a budget too. Have a budget and say, okay, at this time, this is what I want to, this is how much it costs. Actually, I would say, find out how much it costs for the 50 states. I know you already have your license in some of them already, but the remaining states, find out how much it costs, then match that with your milestone and say, okay, this is the cost. Maybe there are 2 that are very expensive, and there's, this one is not expensive. So you can match the one that is maybe 2 that is expensive, or 2 that is not expensive, 1 that is expensive, just like that, and keep it going. So it could be that. So, but I would say, because a lot of business owners, a lot of small business owners, they try to do a lot at once. And we don't want anybody, even including me, to get burnt out. You don't want that. And so, because if you put take on so much at once. Take on so much at once. It might even be discouraging actually continuing with the business. But if you have milestones, and of course, as you pass the exam, please give yourself a pat on the back. Yes, because we failed to say, oh, and now here and there, you don't make maybe one of the tests. I would say, go back and do it again. A lot of people don't know that success stories are easy to tell, right? People have to go through so much to be successful. So I would say, don't be this. If this is your goal, my advice to you, because it's also a challenge. If this is what you want to do, how do you achieve it? What do you do? So financially, you need to make sure, as again, budget. You need to make sure you understand compliance, what is required in the exams. And another thing I wanted to state is that if you see that some of the insurance requirements are similar, I would say that would even help when you're actually trying to get the exam taken, right? If you take the exam, if they're similar, I would say take those. I guess you might not know exactly, but once you go through the practice material, you know which of the states are similar. That will help you if you can actually use that to match it, right?
Yes.
Yes. So that's what I would suggest. All right, and I think generally that's it. I would just want to add something, because I know that in the financial field, do you have any other question? I just want to add something else, but if you have any question, you're good. You're fine. Any other question? Okay. So what I want to add is that one thing is that to get license, that's your goal. But I would say don't wait until you get licensed in all the states before you hit the ground running. I know you're already selling these, but I would say that, as you hit the ground running, just continue as a startup, just continue to grow within your environment and create awareness. Because the good thing is that if, let's say, you have a client that has a relation in, let's say, you're in Texas and a client has a relation in Louisiana, assuming you've already actually licensed in Louisiana, you can actually tell that person that you already are working with, oh yes, you have, and you will know by the time they usually, because you deal with families, right? So they will start, oh yeah, I have my sister in Louisiana, this one is here. So you know what? Yeah, I'm licensed and I'm almost done with this other license. Can I talk to your sister, right? Because you have tentacles in so many of the states. So I just wanted to make sure that you are aware of that you don't have to wait, because some of us wait. We want to make sure everything is perfect before we really get into a hands journey. Really, you know what I say, hands, I mean, really get into the meat of what we're doing. No, let's start small. As you continue to add, you don't have to say that, oh, your goal is until you get maybe 25, 50, you're not going to push. No, as you add little by little, commend yourself. Please, guys, commend yourself when you do something. Commend yourself. Take yourself out for a spa, or for or for something that you love, maybe for movie, whatever you love, and just say, yes, I've done a great job. Some people wait until somebody commends them before they believe they've done a great job. Please make sure you commend yourself. All right. Okay, so if there's no other question, I want to really appreciate you for being here today and sharing with us. I'm sure somebody's listening out there that would really will really be in, or should I say, is already impacted by what you said. And I'm hoping that with this, what they something they would use that to say, okay, yes, I can do it. If somebody can say that I'm going to get licensed in 50 states, they say, okay, yeah, I can do this. This person can actually do it. So really appreciate you. Thank you so much for coming. Okay, bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Bye. Okay, everyone, that was an awesome time. I really appreciate her for coming. Well, we're going to the next segment, but before we go to the next segment, I just want to, actually, you know what? I'm going to surprise all of you. Let me wait. Let me go through the questions. Then I'll tell you what. Remember, I told you last week that I'm working on something. I have a surprise for everyone watching. You'll be so. I have a very, very huge surprise. So, okay, let's just jump into our questions. Okay, have them here. Okay, I am thinking of starting a seasonal business. Is this better than a year-round business? Okay. I would say it depends. Some seasonal businesses make very good money. So, and of course, I would say it also depends on your objective. A lot of times, people just are busy at a certain period of time and they have time in another period of time, right? They might have time during maybe the summer, they might have time, so, or they just want to not be bothered at a particular point in time or particular point in time in the year. But if that's not you, if you just want to ask, okay, what do I do seasonal or all year round? I would say do your research. And this is not a yes or no answer. Do your research and say, okay, what does this seasonal business, how much revenue does it yield in a year? Do your research. Then you say, okay, all year round, a year round business. Well, I don't want you to feel that year round, because a business is year round, is going to be very successful. I don't want you to feel that way. Sometimes a seasonal business actually makes more money than a year-round business. Okay, so you have to really research and say, okay, what kind of seasonal business am I looking at? All right, what kind of all-round business or a year-round business am I looking at? You have to actually, first of all, compare so many, compare, the revenue, compare, how much net profit, what do they make at the end of the day? Compare, okay, what is it required in me? What do I need to do for that business to do what do? Is it a lot of effort? But just compare, just look at the pros and cons, and then you decide what works for you. Because don't be confused, or should I say, I won't use the word confused. I will say, don't say that because a business is seasonal, is not going to make a lot of money. I will say no. I would say that, I mean, you need to go and find out how much amusement parks are open for a few months in the year. Well, it depends on which states that amusement park is in. Find out how much they make compared to the year-round business. So I would say do your research. Okay? All right. The next question is it still okay to put money in the bank? Okay, I think I know why this question is coming up right now. I know that there's so much in the news with banks that have failed, a couple of banks that have failed recently, a few banks. Well, usually when you put money in the bank, there's something called deposit insurance, and I know the government stands by that. Usually when your money is insured. So I would say that, that I won't say you should not put money in the bank. I will not say you should not put money in the bank. I know that, I mean, putting money, should I say, under your bed, people do that. I don't know. I'm not someone that encourages spending cash, because as a business owner, remember, I'm talking to you as a business owner. I'm not talking about personal preferences, but as a business owner, I would say that it's so important for you not to spend cash, because of what I mentioned this before, paper trail. You want to be able to prove your expenses. Oh, somebody might say, I have my receipts. Well, one thing about receipts, that receipts fade. I mean, some people have 20 or 30 bucks a receipt, that's fine. But sometimes, right, receipts fail. Some people scan their receipts, that's also fine. But I see that when you have a paper trail, when you have a way you can swipe your bank, you can swipe your business card, you can send him a check, you can send whether debit or credit card, you can swipe them, you can do a wire transfer or any transfer between yourself and or your business and what you're purchasing. When you can do that, you can actually defend your money, you can defend your expenses. Now, please, if somebody pays you cash as a business owner, Please, don't, please receive your cash. Please don't say, oh no, I'm doing paper trail. Please, if someone says I'm going to pay you cash, do you take cash? Please don't say no. Please, please collect your cash. But I'm talking about you're on the other side spending. Please, it's so important for you to have a paper trail. All right, paper trail to defend what you're spending. Okay. All right. The next question. My child is 13. Can I hire her in my business? Okay, I know I've mentioned it a couple of times that IRS actually encourages people or businesses to hire family members. They actually give tax reliefs here and there. So my child is 13. Can I hire her in my business? Sure, you can, but there's some caveats there. Caveats. What are the caveats? Make sure your 13-year-old daughter is working within the required hours based on government labor regulations. Okay? Please make sure your 13-year-old daughter, whether it's daughter or son, whatever child, make sure that that you are following the exact number of hours that your child is supposed to work. Okay, because if a child is a 13-year-old child, I believe, let me see, is that middle school? I think it's middle school, or I don't think that's high school yet. Generally, I think so. There are a number of hours a child is supposed to work. So people get so excited. Oh, I can hire my child, and then they give them 40 hours a week. There are some exceptions, but 13-year-old, make sure you're following the labor laws. That's number one. Number two, now, a 13-year-old, make sure that 13-year-old is doing what he or she is supposed to do, or she, in this case, is supposed to do with work, right? You're not hiring your 13-year-old daughter to come and sit in your office and do nothing and then pay your daughter a salary. That's not why you're hiring your daughter, all right? You're hiring your daughter to do work, right? It could be shredding, it could be filing. That's not bad. So make sure that the hours are correct. Number two, make sure that your daughter is actually working. You're not just hiring, just say, okay, come and sit in my office. That's number two, right? Let her work. Number three, make sure you're documenting that work so they can be seen. This is my daughter. My daughter worked here, worked this, work. There's documentation. That's number three. That that there's documentation for what your daughter is doing. Okay. Number three. Number four, make sure you're paying your daughter reasonable compensation. Let's say your daughter shreds for you. A 13-year-old, maybe she shreds for you, comes, helps you in the admin work, shreds work, cleans up, helps you here and there. And the same person of that age remember, she can't work 40 hours a week. Remember, she works a couple of hours a week here and there. Okay. A couple of hours a week. Weekly, but a couple of hours a week. Now, you're paying her, let's say you're paying this person that shreds, right? You want to pay her $45,000. When people that do that are adults, they pay them the same $35,000. And your daughter is not working that number of hours, but you want to pay her $45,000, $50,000. That is not reasonable compensation. You'll have problems with the government. So make sure the salary you're paying her is comparable market rates. Okay, you're not giving her something that's outrageous because you want to, deduct it. So make sure it's reasonable compensation. The 13-year-old, yes, pay her. Make sure it's reasonable compensation. Don't overpay for work that is paid for at a different rate, or a much lower rate compared to what she's doing. Okay, and then finally, when you're paying your daughter, make sure you're actually paying her. Okay? Make sure you're actually paying her. What does this mean? Sometimes people pay and pay with clothes. I just bought her clothes. That's her salary. Or, yeah, you know what? I took her bought her some pizza. That's her salary. That is not acceptable. That is a problem. All right? You have to treat your daughter as if your daughter is also working as a staff. That's you should not, you can, because you can't pay. When I say working as a staff, if somebody comes to work for you, right, would you pay the person with pizza and you deduct that cost of the pizza? Would you pay the person with clothes? So you cannot do that with your daughter. You have to pay her salary, cut her a check or do direct deposit, treat her as a staff. Now, when money gets into her account, you guys can do whatever you want to do with that money from the account, because nobody asked you. I mean, unless of course it's fraud that people ask you, what do you do with your money? But if you are paid a salary, who cares? Nobody cares, as I said, except it's something funny you're doing, but bad, illegal. But if somebody pays you a salary, nobody really looks, oh yeah, she used the salary to buy shoes. Nobody cares about that. But the money must come into the accounts, right? That money must come into the account of what? Of that staff. So the same should be for your daughter. Okay. So hope you've gotten those pointers. It's so important. Again, IRS actually encourages people, hire your children, hire your parents, hire your spouse. There are a lot of there are tax benefits for that, right? So 13-year-old, yes. Of course, there are a lot of exceptions when it comes to the kind of person that the kind of the type of business that can exempt the child from FICA taxes and all kinds of taxes, but just know within the age of 13. All right. But generally, I just wanted to let you know that yes, you can actually hire your daughter. But please make sure, again, those pointers, right? Make sure it's reasonable. Make sure your daughter is doing something in the business. Make sure that that it's not like you're paying you're paying her something out ridiculous. Make sure it's documented. Make sure it's not like she's working 100 hours or 40, 50 hours a week. Make sure it's in accordance with the labor law, and make sure you pay her by check, by debit, by any way you pay everybody else working for you. And if there's nobody else working for you, look at how they paid you when you were working for someone. And if you never worked for anybody, then look at how payments are made to others, all right, as staff. Okay. All right. Let's go to our next question before I tell you about the surprise. Okay. This is another question that talks about, I think, somebody that wants to start, or do I buy or start a business from scratch? Okay. The other one was talking about seasonal business. This one is that do I buy? The question is, do I buy or start a business from scratch? Okay. Well, I would still say depends, because you can. I know the good thing about buying a business is already established. You can run with the business and you can start off at school. But starting the business from scratch is a little bit more. It's harder. It's harder than buying a business. But let me look at both advantages and disadvantages. First of all, if you want to buy a business from scratch, excuse me. First of all, if you want to buy a business, right? Or let's start from the other side. If you want to start a business from scratch, the good thing about that is it's your idea. You can start it, and everything is built. You create it, and then it becomes yours. It grows. Everything is yours, right? Of course, the disadvantage is that it's very difficult at the beginning if you don't do your market research well. And that's why I said before you just jump in and start a business, you have to do your market research. You have to say, okay, is this needed? What am I actually selling, right? What is this needed is there a need for what I'm selling or what I'm doing? All right. So it's a lot of work to start. Okay. So, but again, when you cross that bridge of, the market research and everything, and you start, and then revenue starts coming in, of course, it's good, but the beginning is challenging. It's like, oh my goodness, they call it growing pains, all right? It's challenging. Now, let's look at the other side. You want to buy a business. Well, the good thing is that, yes, the business is already established, so it's a great thing. But, And then the good thing also that no growing pains already grow, it's already existing. Now, the only thing that, well, not the only thing, a couple of things. Number one, if the service-oriented company that people know the owner, it's very important for you to make sure that the owner stays with you, even if as someone that just comes in and goes, or someone that is serious, like someone that is really dealing with clients. Maybe you shouldn't just cut off like that, just in parallel as the person, maybe if someone that is trying to retire, right? Okay, that's number one. Number two, before you buy a business, of course, make sure you do your due diligence, right? Make sure that people are you make sure that they're professional, don't just jump and say, oh, it's so cheap. No, make sure you do your due diligence, because that person might be actually running away from a lawsuit, right? That person might actually person is owing somebody somewhere. That person might, it could be any reason, but don't just get so excited. So if you choose, you can choose either or, but make sure that you do your due diligence. Make sure that guy or that lady or those owners are not out there because they just want to leave the business and leave the lawsuit in the business, right? So that you get, because usually when you buy a business, depending on what you buy only the assets, different, but you buy the company, shares in the company, it's likely you might actually, come up with liability, like things that, there might be issues that you have to face. So make sure that you do your due diligence. So it depends on, so either or, make sure you do your due diligence if you want to buy the business. If the other one, you don't really, of course, you still have to make sure that you've done your market research. All right. Okay. So the exciting news, again, very excited. I said this last week. Okay. Yours truly, has started should I say, a platform for courses, right? It's called Global Institute for Advanced Learning. And I'm very excited because, I do a lot of presentations, and I teach also, and a lot of people really like the materials I provide. And so I said, you know what, I want to provide this, right, to a larger platform. And so I decided to put it online. Yes, there's a cost to taking any of the courses, but I think the cost benefit analysis is really worth it. So it's been very busy for me the last couple of weeks, just trying to get everything in order, and but I'm very excited. So by tomorrow, which is the 15th of March, by 12 noon, you can have access to that platform. So that platform is GIadvancedlearning.com. GIadvancedlearning.com. Remember, the name of that arm of my business is Global Institute for Advanced Learning. So the URL is GI, the word advanced, the word learning, spelled out.com. So I'm very excited. I'm really excited to have all my platforms to be able to share knowledge, right? So very, very excited. So that's the surprise. Okay, again, very nice having everybody here. Thank you, Ms. Williams, for being here and sharing your time with us. I'm very, very happy and very, very grateful. And again, very happy to be here. So I will see everyone, by God's grace, next Tuesday. Okay, bye for now. Thanks for having me. Remember to join my live podcast on Tuesdays, 6 to 6:45 p.m. Central Standard Time. Visit my website, dreniadesnia.com, for details. Till next time, bye for now.